Everywhere is offering these prescriptions now. Everywhere you look, they're prescribing GLP-1s, but what are the hidden costs of those? Let's go over a cost breakdown of some very popular sites and 6 things to look out for and what I use. Let's get into it. Hello friends, my name's Kristen, and for the past year, I have been using Zepbound to lose weight. A common question I get asked around here is, how do I get the medication prescribed without my doctor? I know it can be a bit confusing to get prescribed online. I personally could not get prescribed through my doctor because she just didn't want me taking it, but I was with Kaiser. I had never met her before. I'd only had a telehealth appointment with her once. And she wanted to put me in some weight loss program with like shakes and stuff, but at the time, I was in dire need of something like this. I was suffering a whole lot mentally and physically and just wanted to get started and wanted to start losing weight as soon as I possibly could because I just couldn't take it anymore. I have been clinically treated for binge eating disorder and I felt like that program didn't help me, and I didn't think a weight loss program was going to help me with protein shakes and stuff. I needed a step further personally. That might not be the case for everyone, but it definitely was the case for me. Now, a bit of a note before you get prescribed is considering if this medication is right for you. I talk about this med all the time. You can watch all my other videos on side effects and things like that. But the thing people worry about besides side effects is cost. And the cost can really set people back from getting the help that they might need. As with anything, this isn't medical advice. I am not a doctor. I'm not an RN. I'm just someone who has experience using a GLP-1 over the past year, and I'm here to give you some advice if you need it. Before we talk about certain companies and their pricing and their hidden fees, let's talk about things to look out for when you are going on these websites, and then I'll tell you what I use in the end. You have to pay a subscription to pretty much every site you go on, whether that be mochi.com with compounded or Ro.co or whatever, Eden, all that. You have to be part of their little monthly subscription. I haven't even found a way around that, but I'll talk about that later. So they will frequently advertise a very low rate in the beginning, and usually that's for lower doses. Okay, that's your starter dose. But then they bury the catch in the fine print, and they're just hoping that you're not reading it. Okay, but I think it's important for you to go over all this stuff first, okay, before you decide to commit to a website. Some people ask me why I don't do compounded. They say it's cheaper, but I'm on the lowest dose. I have been for the whole year. Not everybody can stay on a low dose. That's usually the cheapest option, but some of these companies make you pay 3 months in advance, 6 months in advance, 12 months in advance. And what if you have a bad reaction? Then you're stuck with a year's worth of medication you can't use, that you have to resell to your friend maybe illegally. I'm not telling you to do that. And what if you have like a problem with it, you don't like it, and you want to switch to medications? Now you're stuck with a year's worth of medication against your will, plus a monthly subscription fee, probably, and a lot of compounded sites work like that. Since I'm on the lowest dose of Zepbound, which is $300 a month currently, by the time I'm done paying for all that stuff, and I don't know if you're like me, but I'm usually running on my last dime, honey.
And there's no money in here.
You think I have like $1,200 saved up? I don't, okay? Most people don't these days. So to pay 3, 6, 12 months in advance, it doesn't work for someone like me. I need to pay separate amounts of time just to spread things out a little bit. But the cost of the 2.5 is almost the same price as getting a compounded version at these prices, unless you pay 12 months in advance, of course, but I don't ever have it. So that's why I don't do it. But just to let you know, some of these places might require upfront, and I would only do that like 12 months in advance. If you're somebody who's planning to stay on the medication long term, you've already been on the medication long term. You've already tried this website or whatever. What if you have a problem with this compound website or something like that? You know what I mean? Lilly Direct requires you to just get it once a month. They don't want people buying their brand name stuff in bulk, probably because of resale. Number 2, dosage-based price escalation. Surprise! The higher the dose, it's going to cost you more money, and they might try and sneak that in there without telling you. They might put it in the fine print and you might not read it. A lot of compound sites, it'll say all-inclusive. Usually is just talking about the starter dose like I just mentioned in their baseline tier there. Once you hit a maintenance or therapeutic dose, they might quietly raise the price of it $100, $200 in some cases and some websites. So you just got to be careful to read everything, before you commit to something. Number 3, separation of medication costs versus the membership fee. They're separating the membership fee and the cost of the medication. Usually that $149 price or something that you see online, you're like, ooh, I can get that for $150. That's so cheap. That's how much it costs to even have someone prescribe something to you, plus the cost of the medication. And as we all know, the pens, not the single dose quick pens, but those pens are $1,200. You can get prescribed vials from Lilly Direct sent straight to your house, but some places don't offer that, so you're stuck paying for the pens. And we're not talking about people here who have insurance and you know, they only have to pay $25 a month. That's a little separate thing. I'm talking about people who have to pay out of pocket for this. They also know that consumers are desperate to get their hands on this medication. As last I checked, there was 30 million people worldwide taking it, so it's not some like small amount. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So of course they're gonna, you know, get a piece of the pie, of course, as you would if you started a business. But some of these places are a little sketchy, okay? So talk about that in a minute. Number 4, lab work out of pocket. So when you go to get prescribed, these places might require you to get your blood drawn and get a comprehensive blood panel or whatever. So they can gauge whether or not you have some underlying issues. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think everyone should get their blood drawn, but it could add an unexpected $100, $200 out-of-pocket cost because your insurance might be like, well, that wasn't from us, so we're not going to cover it for you. So just remember that. You might have to pay LabCorp or Quest Diagnostics a little extra money for lab work out of pocket. So that just adds to the cost of everything. So just keep that in mind. Some places might require you, like some of these places that I've never even had to talk to a doctor, telehealth, they just want the money, which works out for some people, you know, like myself. But some places might require photos of you. They might, if you lied about your weight to get the medication, they might require a telehealth visit if they suspect anything, and they almost always require blood work. So just keep that in mind. Number 5, what to look out for: hidden administrative fees. At the end, you go through your entire list. Make sure you check these 3 things when you're going to pay. Okay? Shipping could cost a lot. Some of these sites do free shipping from Lilly Direct. I've always gotten free shipping. I've had to pay for the needle packs though, an extra $5. So it's really like $305. Check for prior authorization fees. That might be a one-time fee the doctor charges, and then after that, some sites, that's the only thing. And then some sites require you to get a new prescription every month, and you have to pay every single month. Sneaky cancellation fees. Now with Ro.co, I will give it to them, even though they cost a lot there, and I'll get into that in a sec. They make it really easy to cancel. So if you technically wanted, you could get that first month for free. And then a lot of sites will be willing to prescribe you if they see that you're already on the medication and doing well, and they won't make you talk to anybody. So that's kind of what I did. They make it really easy to cancel. Some sites might have like a cancellation fee, or like you might sign yourself up for a year, doesn't work out for you, and then you're stuck paying it for a whole year, or a cancellation fee for a year, and you can't get out of it because you signed like a contract. So just keep that in mind when you're looking for a prescriber online. Number 6, the good old bait and switch, honey. Now, if you don't know what a bait and switch is, it's like if you go to a restaurant and they have one price on the menu, right? And then when your bill comes, it's a different price.
Bill, sir.
What?
You know, they kind of lure you in with the initial like fee, but then they add on all this other stuff, and it's way more expensive than you thought. I'm going to talk about a couple companies here too that I used. In the beginning, I signed up for everything because I wanted to see what would cost me the least, and it seemed like everything pretty much cost the same. I got approved everywhere because I was 205 when I started. So I started with Ro.co, and what I will say about them, okay, so sometimes they run a deal, their first month's free, or I paid $40 for my first month and then $300 to get it prescribed. They give you the option of compounded, Semaglutide, Tirzepatide, you know, or that you can do Zepbound, Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, you know, but you can only get approved Mounjaro and Ozempic or Wegovy. No, it's Ozempic and Mounjaro if you actually have diabetes, as far as I know. But that's what Zepbound and Wegovy are for the weight loss aspect. It's just how they file things insurance-wise, you know, but they will let you try and use your insurance if you want, but you're still stuck paying that first month's fee. Easy cancellation with them. They let you cancel anytime. So once I realized that first month was $40 and then the next month was going to be $145 plus the medication, I was like, that's $500 a month. What happens when you get into the higher dosages? Like at the time when I first started, 5 milligrams and up was $500 for the vials, you know? And so I was like, what am I just going to pay almost $700 a month for this medication? For most people, that is not realistic at all. At all. I will say as a side note, I spend a lot less on food, so that money kind of goes towards like my medication. But even $300 a month that I'm paying right now is unreasonable for a lot of people. It's even unreasonable for me at times. This is why I've had to spread my medication out, which is something they don't suggest you doing, because you can, as you let the medication wear off and take it again, you can get side effects from that, or like more frequent side effects from that. You know what I mean? Ma'am, excuse you. So Weight Watchers and Noom and all that. Noom and Weight Watchers are a little different because they're offering a nutrition plan with that. Some of the sites do. If you go on Lily Direct's website, they will help you try and find providers. It's usually pretty costly and they make you talk to a nutritionist. So if you're someone who needs that, those sites are good for that. But they're about the same as Ro.co, $150 plus the cost of the medication. They also offer compounded. Same with Hims and Hers. Although people like Hims and Hers, they like Ro.co, they're highly rated. Eden website is highly rated. They're all about the same cost every month. GoodRx, for example, is advertising $39 the first month, $39 the first month for a baseline, and then it's $119 a month after that. So they all basically cost the same. It's really what can work out for you. And I'm talking mostly injections here, but on GoodRx, it'll be like they do the pills too, but then it'll be like, $268 a month for pills, even though they're $150 normally, and that's with the cost of the, it's like, they say the shots work better, so if you're almost paying for the shots, I mean, you might as well just get the shots, unless you're scared of needles, of course. I'll tell you right now, the needle does not hurt that bad if you do it correctly. So I'm going to tell you what I used this whole time. So my first month I used Ro.co, like I said, and then I went on a search. I tried to contact my doctor to get her to prescribe it, even though I was already on it. She said no, weight loss program, yada, yada, yada. I already said that. Okay, I repeat myself a lot on this channel, but I mean, I don't know who's watching this for the first time who actually needs this information, so just bear with me, children. Okay, so I found a website called Call on Doc. I went on Reddit and somebody said Call on Doc, so I was like, okay. And for the first few months, they offered free obesity care and they prescribed for free. And once I saw I was already on the medication from Ro.co, I was able to get it because it was working for me. You know what I mean? So I've been with them ever since, but over time they've added fees, I guess, because they're seeing everybody else making money hand over fist. I will say Call on Doc has frequent glitches with their payments. They've added pricing and all that. I got grandfathered in with $45 every 3 months for a membership, but then I pay $15 a visit. It still is the cheapest way for me to get the medication. So $45 every 3 months, $15 a month every time I want it prescribed. And they send it, and you have to type in. So like when you go on this website, they don't have Lily Direct as an option, and you have to request the vials separately. You have to make a note to the doctor saying, I'm already on the medication. Don't lie about being on it if you've never been on it, because they can look it up. Okay, one of my friends got denied because she tried to say she was on it. But they have it's a really long thing, and it's kind of complicated. I figured it out, and it's hard for me to help people with it. But if you want, I can go through the whole thing with you in the comments if you guys need help. And I'm also going to list some legit companies down below and all their pricing in the description, so I don't have to sit here and describe the whole thing. If it's easier for you to read everything than just listen to me babble on. So if you decide to use Call on Doc, sign up for their membership fee. Otherwise, they'll get you for $60 a month. It's like a whole thing. I can't even explain it. And if you have the option to pick it up from your local pharmacy, that's going to cost more because whatever the pharmacy charges. So just keep that in mind. But you make a note to the doctor when it says, is there anything else you'd like to say? You say, yes, I would like this sent to Lily Direct. I would like the vials, please. It's going to ask you before that. And whatever I choose in the drop-down menu pharmacy in the end doesn't matter. And you just choose whatever pharmacy. And they always comply with that as long as you tell them. Even if they don't do that, you can message them back and tell them to send it to Lily Direct. And then you'll get a link from Lily Direct. And then you pay Lily Direct directly for your medication. And then they'll ship it straight to your house refrigerated with no shipping. But you do have to pay $5 for the needles and stuff, which is fine. They give you a lot. I have like so many needles. I have like a crazy amount of needles. If you have found something cheap that works for you to get prescribed online, not through your doctor, but prescribed online, put it down below in the comments. Any online prescription horror stories or anything like that. In another video, some of the compound sites that are offering really cheap stuff are buying their stuff from like other countries, and you have to get it third-party tested. And to me, that's just not worth it for how low of a cost. You have to jump through hoops, and it might not even be safe to use. So please do your research first. I'm going to put some legit sites down below in the description so you don't have to do all the guesswork. And I'm going to put the cost of everything. I signed up for all these sites, so I know how much they're charging. Some of them force you to put in your email and everything first. So what are we dropping? What's our emoji today? I have a little fish earring in. Maybe we can drop a little fish emoji down below. Obviously, I have a sea-themed thing going on here with these Japanese balls. These are old fishing floats that are antiques. They're like 100 years old. And yeah, they're really cool. They wash up on shores and people resell them. And some of them have seals from the original company. So they're kind of neat. Some of these compounding sites can be super shady, super dangerous. So please just don't jump in and not think about about it just because you see a low price. I know people are desperate. They're preying on you. Like, please, please, please be careful. I can make a whole separate video on some of the sites and some of the bad stuff that has happened where people are buying from illegitimate, sketchy ass companies, and I don't want to see anyone get hurt. I want everyone to live happy and skip to their loo all goddamn day, okay? And be like, yes, honey, I feel good. I feel good. Every single day, okay? I mean, that's just not the case of life at all, but happiness isn't a constant state of being, but I want things to be less complicated for you, okay? I really do. That's why I talk about this here on my channel. So if you felt this helped you today, drop a fish emoji down below. Let me know if you have, how do you get prescribed? What website do you go through if you do online prescriptions and you're paying out of pocket, so we can help everybody else in case I missed something. You can also look on reddit.com. There's always people recommending stuff, but remember, people are trying to sell stuff on there too secretly. They might seem like a legitimate post, but it's actually like someone trying to get you to get on their GLP-1 website because people can make this a business. I've noticed these online websites can make these into full-blown $1 million businesses without, you just have to have a medical telehealth network with doctors. You don't have to be a doctor. You could just be a business entrepreneur and start a website. So just be aware of that, okay? And I know these days a lot of influencers are offering codes and that's how they're doing it. I've never been asked because I guess I don't go through the compound sites. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with compounding. It's fine. It's a generic version of the medication. A lot of people do well on it. I've just always stuck to the brand name because I've never been up on the higher doses. But for some people who need that cheaper cost, then compound would definitely be worth it, I think, for the higher doses from a legit company. Ask questions. Always ask questions. Don't just, always ask and make sure that you trust your intuition at times, okay? Okay? But some of us, our intuition is just anxiety, so, if you can tell the difference. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Send it to someone who might need some information about it. I have a ton of videos on the subject and my own personal experience with GLP-1, so next up I want to be talking, there's a huge trend going around of people talking about skinny celebrities. I'd like to talk about that because I have my own experience as a GLP-1 user and everybody's blaming the drug and they're not blaming the culture and the mental state of everyone. Okay, so stay tuned for that. That's all for me today. I will have more videos coming out soon. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.